Friends, hello. Before we begin, I want to quickly show off something. The YouTube Silver Play button finally arrived after a 2-year wait. Back in 2023, I reached 100,000 subscribers. We did it together, and it's all thanks to you. Now we're getting close to 300,000. I'm asking you right now to subscribe to the channel and leave a like, and we'll get started with today's topic. So today's topic is, I want to end the speculation. I'm sometimes accused of supporting or opposing Zaluzhny. But most importantly, I want to dispel the dogmas that our people, including my audience, have right now about the upcoming elections, which will definitely take place this year. In the summer, in June or July 2023, you can find this video. I campaigned for Valery Zaluzhny in the sense that I asked him to run in the elections. Here is the figure around whom we can all unite as a battering ram against the green regime. And after that, he left the post of head of the armed forces of Ukraine, and then he received the position of Ukraine's ambassador in London. Right after he took up this position, he started making not just mistake after mistake. He started making post after post, photo after photo, statement after statement was such that I realized nothing would work out. I spent a long time trying to talk myself out of it, trying to convince myself. I understand that right now we just need a battering ram without any special hopes. But Zaluzhny ruined everything. We won't be protesting now, and let's go in order. Starting from the end, from the latest. Here's the headline from his latest speech. The United States is destroying the world order and moving towards the Kremlin, Zaluzhny said at this military conference, talking there about an endless war. So, the future of Ukraine will depend on how many people are in the army. Wait, Valery Fyodorovich, when you left as head of the armed forces of Ukraine, you did so during a scandal that Zelensky urged you not to escalate. You received a rank, you were given the status of unfit for military service, and you flew to London. You published an entire column in The Economist saying that there's no point in continuing to fight because of problems with armaments. The war has stalled and a drawn-out conflict favors Russia, but I'm not lying, you wrote that in The Economist. Now you, already wearing a civilian suit, not in military uniform, no longer actually being a military person, continue to advocate for an endless war in the Czech Republic. No! You're on the hook for the United Kingdom. You're playing a game that's beneficial to the United Kingdom. You're British. Do you work for Britain or for Ukraine? A prolonged war benefits the United Kingdom and European Union, letting them weaken Russia using our people. I'm not even mentioning the inappropriate photos. You posted photos with your wife from an amusement park, and then a day later or the day before, you made a statement that yes, if it comes to an extreme measure, women should be called up to defend Europe. But you and your wife will be in London. Don't you think that's too much? Or do you believe that if the state must choose between democracy and survival, survival should always come first? Should we keep mobilizing and send women and children to the front? Valery Fyodorovich, as soon as the head of state frames the question like that, there's no point in choosing anymore. That means everyone lost and everything collapsed. If you have to make such a choice, no one will ever do it consciously. Even when forced, as seen in Ukraine, hundreds of thousands of contract soldiers don't fight for Putin's dictatorship, they do it for the high pay. What are you even talking about? But that's all, my friends. That was just the beginning, if you didn't know. Now things are about to get serious. One of the anonymous Telegram channels published the following documents, which I'm showing you on the screen right now. In this photo you see Valery Zaluzhny with his brother, and this brother holds a diplomatic position at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine as an advisor. And of course he is staying in London with Valery Fyodorovich. Zaluzhny Artur Fyodorovich is his name, that is the brother of conscription age, a professional military man who advocates for endless war. There is no other choice, already the main strategic partner. God willing, he began criticizing the nearly allied United States. But my brother, my family and I will be in London and you go fight for democracy over there like Valery Fyodorovich. What do you call that? How would you react to that? I've been thinking about you for almost 2 years now. After this statement, it's all on you as a presidential candidate. You might as well not run. People won't elect you. Do you know why? Because people will choose a president of peace, a president of life, not a president of death. A president of life. Zelensky is a president of death, and judging by your statements, you are also a president of death. And now, people, I want to address all of you. Forget about watching social polls and ratings. It's all bought, first of all, and second of all. Much is being dictated now. People in Ukraine are isolated, pushed into an informational corner, and intimidated, which is why Putin faces no significant opposition. The Federal Security Service is clearly applying pressure. That's understood. In that environment, when you haven't had competitors or a political process for many years, people's minds erase even the thought and the possibility. What, could there be someone else? Unfortunately, this is roughly what's starting to happen in Ukraine right now. But I'll say it again. Everything they're telling you now is kind of half television, half telethon stuff. Don't pay attention to it. The internet will decide everything. There will be a lot of new candidates, completely new names, and there will be a lot of them. All these opinion polls, by the time the elections take place, which will be this fall, none of this will be relevant anymore. It's pointless to even take this into account, which is the bad news. Yes, this year we won't get a reformist president. We probably won't even get a chance at a reformist president. Who, if I may say so, although I'm a maximalist by nature, who would satisfy me? Just a president of peace? For whom freedom of speech is not an empty phrase, and democracy, just let there be freedom of speech, a political process, a democratic process. And don't interfere, so that people can do business, so that the conditions are at least no worse than they were at the start of the war. For this period, a transitional period will be enough. In 2030, we can talk about something bigger, about reforms, about something real, about something great. For now, our fate remains sad, as it has throughout all the years of independence. Once again, coming back to Zaluzhny, it's better not to run at all. Honestly, the smartest advice right now is not to run. Zaluzhny clearly doesn't represent Ukraine or its citizens, according to Zaluzhny himself. I'm not inventing anything. Again, I was the first to support him. This is documented on the YouTube channel. You yourself deliberately, step by step, acted like, I don't know, a resident of Britain, like a person who acts in the interests of Britain. A president who acts in the interests of Ukraine must declare, you want to promote, to advocate for the prospect of future happiness, the absence of hostility, dialogue with all neighbors, even with those like the ones we have. And do you want to keep fueling Ukrainian citizens with hatred according to the plan of the United Kingdom? What United States Agency for International Development has been doing all these years, as it turns out they fueled and fueled hatred, knowing what kind of people are there, that's exactly so that everything would collide. And such a tragedy has happened to us that today we don't even know within what borders our country will remain by the time this war ends, or what population it will have, or whether the population will return at all, and that's the first and main question. Valery Fyodorovich, will the people of Ukraine who were forced to leave return under such slogans of yours? Here's a married couple whose child attends kindergarten in Poland and who have a mortgage there, which didn't exist as a financial tool in Ukraine. They'll drop everything and come back for Valery Fyodorovich. He said, echoing Zelensky, let's form a 1 million-strong army because our future depends on it. Let me leave Italy, Spain, Canada, the United States, I'm speaking on behalf of our people, and come back. To carry out Zaluzhny's grand plan or Zelensky's plan for a multi-million army to be a shield for Europe, supposedly protecting Europe from Russia, is absurd. So why should I speak out against Zelensky now just to choose Zaluzhny, who says exactly the same thing, absolutely the same? But now I'm about to say some terrible things. At least Zelensky has some experience in private life, at least some kind of business experience, even though other people were actually running the business. But you're a military man. You don't understand at all, as it turns out, how this works, and you don't want to understand. Otherwise, you would have invited entrepreneurs like me. Okay, I'm not the best choice, so let's move on. I won't mention libertarians, just reasonable people with common sense who can explain things. Look, 60–70% of the economy is in the shadows. Look, we have crazy reserves for prosperity, those same minerals, the same union with the United States of America. If you worked for Ukraine now, you'd generally advocate for a union with the United States of America. Is that what I'm doing? You need to grab this Trump by the legs and say, let's make a union, not just a partnership, but a real union together. This is the best protection, the best prospect against war, and President Trump is our salvation right now. We have 4 years to get things more or less in order, because God forbid if the Democrats win again in 4 years. I don't think we'll get there in a normal state. Putin wouldn't be able to attack again. Instead, you claim the United States is ruining world order and siding with the Kremlin. Was the United States supposed to start a war or declare war on Putin? Because for 33 years we've been messing around with nonsense in our own country. We haven't built a normal country that would be impossible to attack. We haven't handled our affairs well, to put it plainly. We haven't handled our affairs well. You appeared on Moiseichuk's broadcast a few days before the war and said there wouldn't be a war. People, just like Zelensky, you completely played along with that regime, and today you come out and talk in a way that makes it seem like Ukrainians shouldn't live, or about what you did. You posted a banner on Facebook combining the Ukrainian and military flags, blending them together. Ukraine, Afghanistan, and Syria all in Central Europe. We can already forget about happiness, about life, about the future in Ukraine, and about our beloved country as we remember it. Let's make a battlefield, set up a theater, and London will watch from there and move the pieces in its own interests. I'm for London's interests. Do you think I'm against them? The European Union, Britain, and America, all civilized countries. The European Union and Britain are leftist, but that's a separate issue. Unlike America, I'm in favor, but not at the expense of Ukraine and Ukrainians. There can't be any million-strong armies. No, that's not it. Maintenance funds must come from another source. But how? Don't you understand? If you want to understand and my words resonate with you. If you support this, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and write what you think in the comments. This is very important. Thank you for watching until the end. Bye.